Hello everybody and welcome to yet another video by the Vaidya's Chess Hub, and in this video we are going to learn about some common chess terms. You would always hear chess players using terms which are related to chess, and they are very common, but at times if you're not familiar with those, you will not understand what they are talking about. So just to facilitate that, here's a video for you. So we are going to go through these 10 terms that you see on your screens right now. So let's get started. The first one is a gambit. A gambit is a term used to show that a player has sacrificed one or more of their pawns for early development of their pieces. Example, you have the Danish gambit, the Queen's gambit, you also have the King's gambit, which is quite popular. So basically, a player sacrifices a pawn, ideally it's always a pawn, and sometimes more than one pawn in order to achieve early lead in development so that he can attack. The second term we'll learn today is Patzer. A Patzer is a term used for a player who is very poor at chess, who does not play chess very well. This word comes from the German language, and some other related terms are an amateur or a newbie, etc. So basically, someone who is not good in chess. We come to the third one, fianchetto. It is French in origin, and I will come again with the pronunciation. It is fianchetto. This refers to the development of a bishop along the longest diagonal on the chessboard. Now, if you see in the figure, the bishop, which is on c1 that you see here, if it is developed onto this b2 square, it will be developed on the longest diagonal of the chessboard. And similarly, this bishop on f1, if it is played to g2, it will be on the longest light colored diagonal on the chessboard. So that is what a fianchetto is. First, the pronunciation of this term, en passant. Again, it is French in origin, and it is important to understand en passant because it's a special capturing right in chess, and we have a special video made exclusively for this purpose, and I would really want you to go ahead and watch that. The link is provided to you. I would also try to provide the link in the description, so do watch it and you definitely understand en passant a little more in detail. Moving on to the next is exchange. When during a game of chess the players capture pieces of equal value, it is called an exchange. Now it is fairly estimated that queen is valued 9, rook is 5, bishop 3, knight 3, and pawn is valued at 1. These are relative values, of course, depending on the position. Sometimes the knight could be more valuable than the queen, but normally speaking, these values show the importance of pieces. So example, if both the players capture each other's pawn, it's called an exchange of pawns. Uh, they are captured pieces, mind you, so just a clarification that they are kept outside the board and not handed to each other. That is not what exchange means. So they don't give it to each other. It's just that they've captured the piece of same value. We're going to look at an example. In fact, we are going to look at a couple of examples. In the figure on to the left, you see that if the black rook on e5 is taken by the white rook on e1, the pawn will recapture the rook on e5. Thus, both the rooks will be exchanged. And in the figure on to the right, we find that if white takes the knight on e5, the black rook will take the bishop. Since they both are valued at 3, we just saw the relative value, so they both are valued at 3, it will qualify as an exchange. The sixth term is the smothered mate. So what is a smothered mate? Then a checkmate occurs in which the mated king is surrounded by his own pieces is called a smothered mate. Just look at the figure. White knight has checked the black king on h8, and the king has nowhere to go, nowhere to get out of check, thanks to his own pieces. So he is surrounded with his own pieces, and do not leave any square for the king. Such kind of a mate is called a smothered mate, where the king cannot go anywhere thanks to his own pieces. The seventh term that we are going to study is promotion. What is promotion? When a pawn reaches the 8th rank, it gets promoted and it will transform into any piece of the player's choice. Mind you, a pawn cannot remain a pawn on the 8th rank. You definitely have to choose. For this particular term, I again will encourage you to go ahead and watch our special video exclusively made for this purpose about how to promote a pawn, and we have also dealt with the proper rules and the method of promoting the pawn. So please feel free to go ahead and watch this video. You will learn a great deal, I'm sure. Moving on to the next one, we have the center. Often you will find players talking about play for the center in the opening, control the center. So what exactly is this on the chessboard? You see that the cross-marked squares e4, d4, e5, and d5, the ones shown here, they make up the center on the chessboard. So remember the squares e4, d4, e5, d5 is the center. Now, what is a sacrifice? The ninth term, the penultimate term that we will study. So for that, let's consider this example. Take a look at the sequence of following moves. We will look from the left to the right. It is white to play, and we'll find that white will sacrifice his queen in order to achieve a bigger interest, which is the checkmate. In short, when a player gives a piece or pieces in order to achieve bigger gains, you call it a sacrifice. So on to the far left, you have this queen here, which took the pawn on a7, giving check to the king, as you can see here. And the black king, because the queen had no support and he had no other moves, captured. He had to accept the sacrifice. So king takes a7, and this rook, which you see is on h4 in this third figure, will swoop in from that h4 square all the way to a4 to deliver the checkmate. Notice how knight controls the b8 and the b6 square. So when you sacrifice a piece in order to achieve something bigger, you have sacrificed the piece. And the last term is blunder. Simply put, it's a mistake, a big mistake, or a move that results in loss of material, etc. is called a blunder. And I have to say this, that no player, sadly, is blunder proof. Every player from a Patzer, remember that was the second term we studied, from a Patzer to a grandmaster commits blunders. At some stage a blunder always occurs, and that's why it's important to remember that to err is human. We are not perfect. We are mortals, we make mistakes, but yes, it's a very common chess term, and I hope that you've enjoyed these terms and now you have a better understanding of those. As I always say, keep playing, keep enjoying, keep learning chess. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for watching this video. Cheers. Bye bye.